Galimera, Galimera, Galimera. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And how are we all today? Well, as you can see, today is absolutely glorious. Slight breeze blowing. At the moment, it is very, very warm. Amanda says, morning, Ginge. Weather for Wednesday. It's going to be a pleasant sunshine with some cloud. It's going to be highs of 24. It's going to feel like 27. Have a nice day. And to be honest, at the moment, there is just wisps of cloud. I don't know if you can see those just up there in the sky. But yeah, it's looking absolutely delightful. I was also out yesterday evening as well at Magdalena's, doing some prep to get ready for the broadcast tonight. And when I was actually around Sillery last night, still quiet in comparison to previous years. But it was still nice to see people out and about and businesses turning and burning. Big shout out to Obelix. And also I understand Benico's is opening tonight as well in Sillery, all being well. Right, let's have a quick look then at what's been going on here in the last 24 hours. There has a lot been happening here on the island and also across Greece as well, especially when it comes to the COVID stats as well. And I'm going to quickly, oh God, the sun is right in my face there. I shall quickly crack on with the figures and stats for today. Oh yeah, just got to say today's arrivals, I forgot to mention that. We've got 3 flights in from Amsterdam. We've also got 1 flight in from Prague, which has already arrived. We've got 1 flight coming in later this afternoon from Corfu. That's another flight from Corfu. Now, we did have 2 flights coming in from the UK on EasyJet. We should have had a flight from Bristol and a flight from Gatwick. At the moment, they are showing on the arrival boards, but whether those flights will turn up, we shall wait and see. That's all we can do. Right, COVID in the last 24 hours then. I'm afraid the figures are back on the rise again. Yesterday, I reported to you that there was 1,007 new cases across the country. Well, that has risen actually quite a lot, actually, to 1,886 new infections recorded yesterday across Greece. As for detections into entry into the country, that was also up. There were 5 new cases identified at checks into the country, which was up on 1 on the day before. Now, when it comes to new cases on the national stats, this is also raising some interest as well. There were no new cases reported in Lefkada. There was 1 case reported in Kefalonia. There were 25 new cases recorded in Corfu, and Zakynthos actually recorded 9 new cases. Now, when I look at the local news at the moment, the local news does have a story this morning which says, and this is their wording, not mine, locally it has been reported a sudden explosion shows cases of coronavirus in Zakynthos on the last day of May, on the 31st of the 5th. It said, according to the local stats, there were 7 new cases of COVID. And what we should point out, the article says, the month of May, we had fewer cases than March and April. That's something that I'd already told you. Along with yesterday's cases, the island's media is putting the total amount of cases at around about 44, which was more or less in keeping with the figures that I had for the whole of May. Anyway, in the latest incident, which they say had occurred on May the 31st, 17-year-old schoolgirl was diagnosed positive. The school where she was attending, that has been closed as a precaution up until the 10th of June. And on Tuesday, the 1st of June, until 10 p.m., the local media are reporting no cases have been reported in Zakynthos. So it might be a case of the figures from the national stats are catch-up figures, all right, from earlier on. And sometimes there is a little kind of a lag between the two. Anyway, For their part, the press here is saying doctors noted that there is no case for concern, but observe and record all events as the tourist season has begun and there is mobility throughout the island with visitors coming from different parts of Europe. The nationwide picture is constantly improving. And it's also been said as well that there has been no sign of any cases of coronavirus being detected at the airport as well. But anyway, I have another story reference the airport a little bit later. Right, so when it comes to new deaths across Greece at the moment, unfortunately, those figures are up as well. We reported, those figures are down. I do apologise. I did report to you the other day that we had 41 new deaths across Greece. Today's figures at the moment is 27 new deaths across the country, bringing the death toll now to 12,122 since the pandemic started last year. And once again, our condolences to those families that are affected. As before, it seems that 96.4% of those people who have passed away had underlying health problems or were over the ages of 70. When it comes to critical cases at the moment, critical cases in hospital, they're up as well, but not by much. The other day I reported to you there was 481 critical cases across the country. That number has now risen to 482, of which 290 are male and 192 are female, where the day before it was 191. So one woman has been admitted into an ICU within the last 24 hours. Anyway, once again, with critical patients, the average age of those are 68 years of age, and 83.5% of those have underlying health conditions or are over the age of 70. So there you go. That is the COVID stats for today. Now, today's news. A sad story, a local story. A 56-year-old resident of Ampelokipi here on Zakynthos. He was found dead by his relatives midday on Monday. Now, according to early information, it's indicated that his death was maybe connected with the fact that the man was a drug user. Anyway, an autopsy is going to take place in the next coming days, which is hopefully will shed some light on the case, and the body has been transferred to Patras, obviously, for that autopsy to be continued. So once again, our condolences to the family that are affected here on the island. Anyway, going back to the airport now, a story that appeared just this morning in the UK, in the Zakynthos press. It seems that slow rates in arrival of foreign tourists throughout the airport were recorded for the month of May, and the data that shows at the moment we had, believe it or not, 7,000 tourist arrivals here on the island, mainly from Poland, and Poland now are the nation that are in first place on the demographic of people that are here. Now, what has been observed is that the flights are slowly and steadily increasing. However, the unbalanced factors with the pandemic that have upset the climate from time to time. But in addition to the Poles arriving, we've also received some people from the UK. I had to laugh because it actually said Welsh in Greek, but people from the UK, I think we have had a few Welsh as well as a few from other parts of the UK. We've had people from Switzerland. We've also had French, and we've had German and Lithuanians as well. They've also been here to the island. Now, compared to May 2020, this year has been an improvement of arrivals. This time last year, we had only 497 people arrived on the island for the end of May. That's all, because if you remember, we were still technically in lockdown. The UK was also in lockdown as well, and we were waiting for decisions about people being allowed to travel even then, this time last year. Now, when you compare that to the numbers for 2019, where we had 181,000 arrivals by the end of May, you can see that's a heck of a difference. So again, we shall have to wait and see what Boris decides for us this week. Jane was just noting that it's gone very quiet now in getting ready for announcements, either from Mitsotakis or from Boris. So fingers crossed by this week we should have some idea of what's going on. Now, on the positive side, and I've already said this, so far with the testing that's been done at the airport on arrivals, there's been no cases at all of any virus or anybody testing positive on arrival. So therefore, all this concern about foreigners bringing the disease with them when they come over, I think we can put that one to bed. So again, that's it. For this year then, we've had 7,000 arrivals. But in 2019, we had 183,000 people came. And last year at this time, we'd only had 497. So again, we'll wait and see how things proceed. More local news then, more information concerning the 60-year-old man who was arrested on Monday around about midday, who's involved in a drug case after a large amount of cocaine and hashish was found in his own house. It seems police were watching the man when he entered his house, and after watching him, they raided the house and they found weapons and drugs and ammunition hidden away. Quite alarmingly, the police found 2 firearms, which included 2 .357 Magnum pistols and also a 7.65 millimeter pistol as well with ammunition. Now, the 60-year-old citizen is being held by police at the moment. Information states that the drugs were found as well, half a kilo of cocaine, also half a kilo of hashish. They were also being kept in bags in the house. And the house where the arrest took place was not the residence of this man, was not his home residence. Well, anyway, the police have also said that the police have intensified their investigation after the murder of the 56-year-old man, which was obviously Dimis. They said as well that there were other elements that has led the investigation in new directions. In addition, police made arrests after the shooting that took place last week in the street of Crete in a case that's thought to... in a case that has brought to light other findings and locations and confiscations of weapons and drugs. Now, the 60-year-old who has been arrested previously had been of interest to the authorities, they said, and is also a close relative of one of the 3 perpetrators who was arrested and remanded to Coriolandes prison for the shooting that took place last week in the Cateo area. The police also emphasised that the house where the drugs and weapons were found were not this man's permanent residence. So they're obviously just a place for storage of weapons. So again, the police have been very active here on the island. Obviously, after yesterday's announcements by the Minister of Civil Protection that the police in Greece are stepping up their action to dismantle organised crime, we're obviously feeling part of that over here on Zakynthos. With the activities of the local police obviously being very proactive at the moment. So again, maybe there's more to come. We'll wait and see, and I'll keep my ear close to the ground. Anyway, in a survey conducted by the think tank DiaNEOsis, which was released on Monday, it seems 68.4% of participants believe that the worst is behind us, and that there will be a return to more normalcy at some point in 2022. Now, this is part of a wider optimism in Greek society revealed by the survey, and of course, the pandemic and vaccination drive. Now, most respondents, 57.2%, believe the country is moving in the right direction to tackle the pandemic. However, the majority of the sample believe that we have moved in a new phase of the pandemic, whereas in September 2020, 3 in 4 Greeks believe there are tough days ahead. The latest survey revealed that 68.4% of those that participated now believe in the opposite. So again, Greek morale is rising. They see good days ahead of us, which will be interesting. Anyway, the main reason behind this optimism is the vaccination drive. At 38.9% of those responding stated that they have received at least one dose of the vaccine, and 66.2% of those believe that they are in a better psychological state following their jab. Anyway, the majority of Greeks are also pleased that with the rate of vaccination campaign, and with the vast majority, 97.8%, are satisfied by the vaccination process here in Greece. Anyway, the number of people responding that they would not be receiving the vaccine has also decreased over the last months. I'm one of those, by the way. Anyway, in December 2020, 14.3% of respondents stated that they would definitely not be receiving a vaccine, while on Monday results it was shown that it was down to 6.2%, while 13.1% who answered that they said they would probably not receive the vaccine has shrunk to 4.8%. Anyway, the survey participants, in their vast majority, 87%, including those already vaccinated, reported that they would be positive towards receiving a vaccination jab across all ages, education brackets, income groups, professions, and all regions of Greece. So it seems that this think tank has been going around trawling people's opinions about what they think about how the country is handling the crisis, about vaccinations. And it looks like a lot of people in Greece now are getting onto the pro-vaccination stance, and those that were against it obviously are dropping down in their positivity for not having the vaccine. So again, we'll see how those figures pan out. But again, a lot of people now thinking maybe the worst is now behind us, and things should start to improve and should start to look better. Meanwhile, another story reference the vaccine. A 44-year-old woman who suffered a blood clot after being inoculated with AstraZeneca vaccine died on Monday in an intensive care unit of the University Hospital of Heraklion in Crete. Anyway, doctors confirmed on Monday that she was brain dead and informed her relatives before disconnecting the life support system. The 44-year-old woman was vaccinated with the first dose of AstraZeneca vaccine earlier in May, but a few days later began to feel unwell, and a week after that developed symptoms of thrombosis that led to her hospitalization. So once again, our condolences to the family affected there. So again, I'm not sure how many deaths that brings us up to here in Greece from the vaccine, but again, I think off the top of my head, we've had at least 4 deaths from thrombosis due to the vaccination. So again, we'll keep an eye on these stories. Good that they're being reported as well, and that they are being open about this, because again, the government here is very pro, obviously, for vaccinations, and this kind of news doesn't help their cause in getting people vaccinated. But anyway, I'll keep an eye open on any other cases. Anyway, the European Commission has also approved an €800 million scheme for Greece, designed to support tourism companies which have been heavily affected by the COVID-19 outbreak. Now, they say that the companies have been hit hard by the pandemic, and this scheme will help ensure the community of their economy activity in these difficult times. Anyway, Commissioner Margarita Vestager, who is in charge of the European Union's competition policy, said this in a statement on Tuesday. Anyway, the scheme will be open to companies of all sizes that experienced a decline in turnover of more than 30% in 2020 compared to 2019. That is the opening sort of level that they're saying. This will be interesting, is when they mean by tourism companies, what companies they're talking about. That's not been made very clear. Are we talking travel agency companies? Are we talking bucket shops? Or are we talking about any other business might be connected with tourism? People doing tours, people doing trips, etc., who've obviously seen a drop in their revenues. one thing I do know from talking on the street to people yesterday, certain people have been bailed out very nicely, from what I understand, from certain funds that's been available. And some of those people have been using their money to, say, expand their hotels, buy new cars, and, shall we say, put it to uses which would, to me, would not be the most ethical of uses with money that's been given to them to bail out, considering that some people didn't receive any ICA last year because of what has gone on with their season. So again, we'll keep an eye on this story because I think there's more to come out on this one as well. Anyway, also as well at the moment, the recruitment of officers, police officers, who will man the so-called university police, that will protect academic institutions around the country, is set to begin in the coming days. The Greek government has said on Monday. Now, this special police force, or Greek police force, they're looking for 1,000 special guards, and was deemed necessary by the government to tackle the rampant lawlessness and impunity on Greek university campuses. However, opponents of the plan say that it threatens the academic freedoms established after the end of the 1967 and 1974 military dictatorship. Meanwhile, an education ministry reform bill for primary and secondary schools, which is expected to be published on later on July, foresees more autonomy for schools. This entails changes in the configuration of course schedules, in the way that students are evaluated, as well as the selection of textbooks and educational material by teachers. So anyway, it looks like they're going ahead. They are trying to recruit police to go onto the campuses. And for those people who don't understand the reason behind that, basically the campuses were seen as a place of sanctuary, which was a clause put into the university campuses after the 1974 junta, where basically a lot of the planning and the organisation to bring the junta down was actually carried out in some of these university campuses, etc. And there was also incidents of shootings as well. And basically the Greek authorities run amok at one point, and basically people went to the campuses to seek sanctuary, and obviously they tried to keep those areas basically as free of police. However, obviously as time has gone on, we're talking now 1974 onwards, it's interesting now to see if it is true what is being said, that a lot of people are using it as an escape area to go to a campus. The police can't follow them through the campus, etc. And shall we say, the underworld have kind of used that as a nice location to be able to get on with their business, shall we say, unhindered by the police. But again, we'll see how this works out, and we'll see what happens in the bigger frame of things over there as well. Right, that's it with the news for this morning. I do notice a few people tuning in at the moment. I'm going to see if I can get your comments. I know for the last couple of days I've had a few little issues with that. Will Bland is watching. Nice to have you tuning in, sir. Rosewood is also watching in as well. Wendy Norcliffe is tuning in. Margaret Miller also. Hilary Rogers, nice to have you tuning in, Hilary, up there on the north end of the island. Sam Curtis over there in Brighton, he's tuning in as well. Caroline Davis and Alf Ling, give you guys a wave as well. Somebody's saying, morning Ginge, lovely day here in Suffolk, bless you. It's a beautiful day here as well. Also as well, morning Ginge. Oh, hang on a minute. Morning Ginge from a lovely warm day here in Brighton. Looking forward to the show later on. Bless you, Sam. Yes, tonight, don't forget, 9 o'clock my time here, which is 7 o'clock your time in the UK, doing a little bit of an experiment. I'm going to be broadcasting into Magdalena's from Studio One here in Macardo. I was out last night getting little video clips from our staff in Magdalena's, Dennis and the lads, welcoming everybody. Basically, those little clips are going to be run through the show. Once again, you can tune into it online. Those people in Magdalena's, you can listen to it as well as see the pictures will be on the big screens. To hear the music and commentary, you'll have to go onto your app, okay, on your phone, on Mixcloud or on Facebook, to actually hear what's going on, so that we're not breaking any lockdown rules within the eyes of the Greek government at the moment. So again, that's going to kick off tonight. 9 o'clock my time local here, which is 7 o'clock your time. I plan to do 2 hours. I might do a bit of overtime. I'll just see how it goes. And yeah, I'm quite excited. It's like a little bit of an experiment, a little bit of a cocking a snoot at the authorities, and obviously hoping that the ludicrousy of the music ban is going to get lifted at some point. So cheers for that, Sam. Emma Marco's watching. Who else is watching as well? I hate the way it keeps jumping back to the beginning all the time. Anyway, I think that's it. Jeanette Cooney's watching. Wiggy Winstanley is also tuning in as well. Just to let you know, my Northern Soul show is up online, okay, from yesterday. You can watch that on Mixcloud. And you can hear that on Mixcloud. And just to let you know that this weekend's Northern Soul show, to Wiggy Winstanley, I've got your cousin Russ on that show with an interview from him from last year, and he talks about the Wigan Casino and about how it all kind of started. So again, that is on this Sunday's show on beatsradio.co.uk. Right, that's it from me. Nice to have you tuning in. I will keep my ear to the ground. You guys stay safe, and we're still waiting for Boris to make a decision. We're also waiting for Mr. Takis to make a decision as well, and we'll see if we can get that number up of arrivals here on the island. Once again, we've had 7,000 arrivals here on Zakynthos for last month. Let's see if those arrival numbers will go up higher for the month of June. But that's not in our hands. That's in the authorities above us. Anyway, I'll let you crack on, and I'll catch you later. Ta-ra.